You know, Biden finally made it to East Palestine, Ohio, a year since a train full of toxic waste derailed in the town. And so many people have been sick and dealing with unbelievable financial struggles in the aftermath of the train disaster. And take a look at what the president had to say.
I want them to understand that we're not going home no matter what till this job is done. And it's not done yet. There's a lot more to do. Well, the vast majority has been done. But we're going to stay to the very end. Every need is met.
More than a year after the derailment and toxic burn, President Biden came to East Palestine, met with first responders and a few residents. We sat down with them after and asked if their concerns were met.
We don't have our needs met yet, just based off of one presidential visit, but we are moving forward together. And I think that's a really important thing to recognize after today's visit.
Dr. Chai is a chiropractic doctor in East Palestine, Ohio, and has been helping out his town personally by checking the waterways for contaminants after the train spilled hundreds of thousands of gallons of toxic chemicals into the town's soil and water. And after seeing the EPA and the government completely mishandling this crisis, Dr. Chai has decided to run for state Congress in Ohio. He's here now and joins us. Dr. Chai, welcome.
Shemane, thanks for having me. So it's a real honor. And I will say your husband, he was my first concert when I was at 15 years old in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. So it's a real honor. So go ahead.
Thank you. Thank you so much for saying that. I just have to say, I wish I had $1 for every time I heard that, because it seems to be a very common thing, except for when I was growing up, I didn't listen to rock and roll music. Can you believe that? I
can believe it. Yeah. Can you believe I used to be a Democrat? Not about
okay.
20 years ago. About 20 years ago.
But this is good because you know how that side has played things. And I had to smirk when President Biden finally decided to come to East Palestine. And are his words too little too late?
So his actions are too little too late. It's been a year, and he's only coming because he's caught between a rock and a hard place. He has a senator that is probably going to lose the race that he has to campaign for. So it's an election year, and that's the only reason he did it. The only thing we've never gotten one penny or one single bottle of water from the federal government. And the only thing he's giving us is some grants for universities and scientists to study the residents here. If you do not remove the poison from the land, you remove the people from the poison. So, the last year, I've been documenting the waterways here. I put my military gear on and I go in. Just the other day, I took the media down to the creek 2 miles south of the derailment in the park where the children play. And I didn't even do a shovelful. I just hit the tip of my shovel into the ground and chemicals leach into the water. So we've been lied to by local, state, federal government, the EPA, the CDC. It wasn't just me showing the chemicals and documenting that all year. People credit me for having the EPA having to extend its map of contamination. I also defied the CDC. The CDC came in and dissuaded doctors, discouraged them, if you can believe it or not, for testing people for the chemicals that were on the train. And this is one of America's, or the worst chemical disaster from a train derailment in U.S. history. And doctors were discouraged from testing people for chemicals. So I defied their guidelines. I routinely tested people in East Palestine. They came up with high levels of benzene, which is carcinogenic in their bodies, and vinyl chloride metabolites. Many of those people got very sick. There's a man who his entire family tested positive for benzene and vinyl chloride, and he now just had an operation for a rare form of male breast cancer, and he's currently undergoing chemotherapy for those treatments. So there has been a lot that's been hidden from the mainstream media. There are still people getting sick. There are people displaced from their homes that don't want to go back to their contaminated homes down by the railroad tracks. My wife and I single-handedly raised over $100,000 for the people of East Palestine, the residents that were affected. And there were a lot of charities, a lot of fake charities that came in and nobody saw the money. There were also charities that were raised by very famous people, and not one resident saw a penny from them. They went to do things such as beautify the park or make our town prettier while you have these chemicals in our land. And I would say that you can't pay your rent with flowers and you can't eat new park benches. So a lot of these people were out of work because of the derailment and displaced. So we've been doing everything we can. And it's not a state rep position. I'm going for the congressional representative. Bill Johnson, our congressional rep, had vacated his seat to take a position at Youngstown State University for the presidency. So he just left his seat open. And there are 3 Republicans vying and fighting for his seat. I'm the only true America First a MAGA Republican fighting for that seat. The others pretend to be because they jump on, the Trump. All they do is yell Trump, 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 and I'm a Trump lover through and through. But they just pander to him to try to get an endorsement. I'm in it to win it. I built one of the largest chiropractic offices in the entire nation in my 30s. I know how to run a business. I know how to communicate. I know how to get things done. So I've been driving up and down with a big 8-foot sign in my truck and a PA system endorsed by Ted Nugent on the side of my truck. People fist pumping me up and down the state as we drive down the highway, excited, taking pictures. I'm knocking on doors. I'm going to businesses, and I am going to shock everybody because I'm going to win this whole ball of wax, and I'm going to bring sanity and integrity back to Ohio and the nation, and we're going to give the world more TDS. That's Trump and Chai derangement syndrome. When I win, I'm going to knock them on their ear.
I love that, and I have to say, so many of us sat back and we felt helpless because we wanted to help everybody in East Palestine, and we wanted to do something. But when the government doesn't step in, you hear that phrase that Reagan said, I'm with the government and I'm here to help, except for when you really need it. So thank you for what you're doing, and thank you for being bold and brave. I have a special affinity for chiropractors. I use them all the time. And I think I got sick and almost died from toxic mold. And one of the worst things that happened was that when you have water infiltration, it's like a great mover. So whatever chemicals, whatever dirt and soil bacteria are in that, this, that's going to go through the soil, and the ground, the trees, in the air. I can't even imagine what you're going through, what your families are going through. How can we, in about a minute, how can we help you?
Well, that's a good question. And I would say, we collected water initially, and I had to stop that as soon as I ran for Congress. Here's how you can help. This is not self-serving. I'm a non-politician. The best way you can help is to donate to my campaign at rickchai.com, RICKTSAI. And here's why I'm saying that. All the residents and all the afflicted businesses here all endorse me. When the media leaves, they came again for our anniversary and they leave and nothing changes. We still get nothing from the government. We need somebody to stand up for East Palestine, Ohio, and the entire District 6 and the nation. And I will fight for them. And I'm not a one-trick pony. I will take care of things all the way up and down our state on the eastern swath of where I'll be the rep. But I'm going to fight in Congress too. And I'm going to fight for not justice. I'm going to fight for a reckoning for East Palestine for what happened here.
And they need it. Rick, thank you so much for joining us. God bless you, and stay safe, stay healthy, and keep on fighting.
Thank you, Shemane. Thank you so much.
We'll be right back. Don't go away.
Relish the opportunity to be an outsider, because it's the outsiders who change the world.
Perhaps you were born for such a time as this.